Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone, hope you are doing well. So in today's class I'll explain you how to calculate inflation and deflation. Okay, so this is deflation, right? So inflation and deflation, we have exactly the same method to find inflation as well as deflation, only the difference is if the result of calculation is positive, it is known as inflation. However, if the result of calculation is negative, that will be deflation, because inflation is the rise in general price level over time, while deflation is the fall in general price level over time. If price level increases, that will result in positive rate of inflation. If price level decreases, it will lead to negative rate of inflation, right? So let's move on to the practical example. First of all, to find out rate of inflation, we have the formula. Rate of inflation is equal to CPI, that is consumer price index, or we can also write it as retail price index. Although there is a little difference between CPI and RPI practically, but here we are considering CPI and RPI exactly the same thing. So CPI is consumer price index, and minus 100 is basically the base year price. Okay, so then how to calculate CPI consumer price index? The formula to calculate it, we have summation WI divided by summation W, right? So this is the sign of sum or summation, or we also call it sigma, right? Here weight, W shows like weight mean the relative importance of certain product for a certain consumer. For example, sometimes as we say that I give more weightage to the recreational activities than the basic necessities, it means I'm giving more importance to the recreational activities, that is a part of luxury products. And someone may have more importance for the basic food. So weight basically shows how much a certain product is important for a certain person, right? So now move on to the next thing, that is I stands for index. Index basically shows the change in individual prices of the products, right? So if we multiply weight and index, then we will get weighted index, and we can look into one numerical example to finally see how to calculate the rate of inflation. So the example, I'm looking at very simple example so that you understand the basic structuring of answering this question. So I can write different products or commodities or goods here. So products, then weightage of each product, then index of each product, and then W into I, that is weighted index. For example, there are three products. One is like food, and the other one is accommodation, and the third one is recreation or entertainment, let's say. For example, if the consumer spends $5 on food, $3 on accommodation, and $2 on recreational activities or entertainment, so the sum of weights will be, if we add these values, we will get sum of weights that is equal to 10. What does this basically show? 10 shows the total income of the consumer, and out of $10, a person who earns $10, he spends $5 on food, $3 on accommodation, and $2 on recreation. So for this person, this certain person, food is more important than accommodation and recreational activities or entertainment, right? Now we assume that there is 10% rise in the price of food, right? If price of food rises by 10%, the base index is always taken as 100. If there is a rise in price, we will add that rise into 100, and if there is a decrease in price, then we will deduct that decrease from 100. For example, if there is 10% rise in the price of food, then its index will be 110, and if the price of accommodation increases by 20%, then its index will be 120, and if there is no change in prices of accommodation, recreation, then its index will remain 100. Okay, so if there is decrease in price of certain thing, then we will deduct it from 100. For example, if the price of food decreases by 5%, then the new index must be 95. right? So here we are assuming that there is rise in 10% rise in price of food. Now what we will do is we will multiply these two values. 5 into 110 is equal to 550, and 120 into 3 is equal to 360. 100 into 2 is equal to 200. So now we will get sum of weighted index. We will add all these values and the sum will be like 1210. Now we can just put this value of weighted index into the formula, that is 1210 divided by sum of weights, that is 10, so is over 10, that will be like 121. Now if we put this 121, the value of CPI into the main formula of inflation rate, then it will be 121 minus 100, so it will give us 21%. So collectively the general price level increased by 21%. If the answer is negative, like minus 21%, then it means decrease in price. Since here 121 minus 100 gives us a positive result, so it is called inflation. Okay, so now moving to the practical example given by the examiner in question, and we can calculate that question as well. So let's move on to the question paper. So this is a real-time exam question. Question number 8, you can stop the video, read the question carefully and try to answer this question, and afterwards then you can play this video again and see what is the exact solution to this question. Okay, so examiner says the table shows the price indices of and weights of 3 commodities. What are those 3 commodities? They are X, Y and Z. Commodities mean products, goods, things, right? And that are included in the calculation of country's cost of living. Okay, so by how much has the cost of living increased since the base year? Okay, so we know that in the base year prices are 100, so there are different like changes in the price indices of X, Y and Z. We will look into that as well while calculating the rate of inflation to find out the cost of living, right? So cost of living also depends upon like the rate of inflation. If rate of inflation increases, then cost of living will rise, and if rate of inflation decreases, then cost of living will increase but with decreasing rate. However, if the general price level falls and it results in deflation, then cost of living will decrease. Now again we move to the basic formula of inflation, and inflation rate is equal to CPI minus 100. Right now we have to find out the value of CPI. For CPI, what we need to do is we have to use the formula sum of weighted index over sum of weights. For that we already have weights, so we can add these values. So we will get sum of weights. 4 plus 3 plus 3 is equal to 10. Okay, so if a person who earns $10 spends $4 on X, $3 on Y and $3 on Z, it means X is more important than Y and Z for this consumer. Now we need weighted index, so what we will do is we will multiply weight and index. So this is index and this is weight, right? So 300 into 4 is equal to 1200, and 140 into 3 is 420, and 3 into 80 is 240. Okay, so if we add these values, then we will get sum of weighted index, and that will be equal to 0. 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. 6, 7, 8, 1, 1860. So you can like add these values using calculator as well. So now we can put this value into the formula. Sum of weighted index is 1860, and sum of weights is 10, so divided by 10. Let me make it clear. So this is 1860 divided by 10. So we can cancel out 0 with 0. So CPI will be 186. Now we can put this value into the main formula. So 186 minus 100 is equal to 86%. Rate of inflation is always calculated in percentage. So 86% is the correct answer to this question. I believe you understand this topic, this question, and I can move on to one more question as well, so that you get a clear idea on this question. So we have another question, question number 12. What you have to do is you have to find out sum of weights, like you have to multiply weight and index, right? And the sum of weights will be 5 plus 3 plus 2 is equal to 10 again. Okay, so again you can multiply 400 into 5, you will get like 20,000, rather 2,000, 5 4s are 20, 2,000, and then you will get 360, and then you will get 160. So you can add these values. So 0, 12, 1 carry, 1, 2, 3, or 3 and 1, 4 and 5, and then 2. So 2520. So you can find out the value of CPI using formula sum of weighted index over sum of weights. Okay, so sum of weighted index is 2520 divided by sum of weight is 10. So you can cancel out 0 with 0, and then you will get like CPI equal to 252. And to find out inflation rate, focus on my voice instead of writing, so you will understand it better. CPI minus 100, CPI is 252 minus 100 is equal to 152%. So it means the correct answer will be option C. So this is how you can like calculate the value of rate of inflation or deflation. Since the result is positive, it will be inflation. If the result is negative, then it will be deflation. Okay, so let's move on to one more question or two more questions to have a clear idea about this type of questions. So again, you have a question number 6. You can stop the video, read the question carefully, and then definitely listen to the logic. Okay, so in this question, examiner has given one extra information, that is index of prices in year 1, that is 100. So we can cross it because we already know that in year 1 index is always 100. So we require index of year 2, current index, and we can put I here, that is index. And consumer expenditure in year 1, this is basically weight. Consumer expenditure shows, expenditure pattern shows weightage of a certain consumer for a certain product, right? So we got index and weight. Now we can multiply weight and index to get weighted index. So you can multiply 160 and 100, and then 80 and 300 and 100 and 100. So we will get like 16,000 here, and we will get 24,000 here, and we will get 10,000 here, right? So if we add these values, then I believe we will get 0 0 0, then 10, and then this will be like 50,000. And sum of weights, this is basically weight. If we add these values, we will get sum of weights, and sum of weights is equal to 100 plus 300, 400 and 500. Okay, so again for finding CPI, we have the formula sum of weighted index over sum of weights. So sum of weighted index is 50,000 and sum of weights is 500. So you can cancel 2 zeros with 2 zeros, 5 ones are 5, 5 ones are 5, and 0 0. So we will get CPI equal to 100. And for finding rate of inflation R of I, we have to put these values like CPI minus 100, CPI minus 100. So CPI is also 100, and if we deduct 100 from this, so 100 minus 100 will give us 0%. So it means there has been no change in the cost of living or rate of inflation or change in prices. So we will choose option C in this question. And we can look into one more different type of question as well, and structuring is different, but question is exactly the same thing. we have already done question number 3. You can stop the video, read the question carefully, and then listen to the explanation that I'm providing you. First of all, you have to convert this word problem into a table, right? So you can make a table like this, and you can write commodities here, commodities or products here. What are the commodities here? One is food, then is accommodation, and then is clothing. So this is food, then it is accommodation, and this is clothing. So again we have like weightage. Weightage is given in the ratio of 5:3:2, means 5:3:2, this is the ratio, and we can find out sum of weights as well. That will be, this is sum of weights, 5 plus 3 plus 2 is equal to 10. And now we need index, and we know that basic price index is always taken as 100, rise in price is added into 100. So we can see that examiner is saying that price of food rises by 10%, so its index will move to 110. And next, the price of accommodation remains unchanged, remains constant, so it means its index will be exactly the same, that is 100 previous year. The price of clothing falls by 5%, so it will be 95. So if there is fall in price, then we will deduct it from 100, and if there is rise in price, then we will add it into 100. If there is no change, then we will keep it as 100. Next, we have to multiply weight and index. So 5 into 110 is equal to 550, 3 into 100 is equal to 300, and 95 into 2 will be 95 into 2. 95 into 2 is 190. Okay, so now we can add these values to find out sum of weighted index, and the sum of weighted index will be 190 plus 300 plus 550. It will give us the answer will be 1040, 1040. Now you can put it into the basic formula of CPI first. CPI is sum of weighted index over sum of weights. So sum of weighted index is 1040 over sum of weights is 10. So you can cancel 0 with 0, and CPI will be 100. And then to find out rate of inflation, we have to use the formula CPI minus 100. CPI is 104 minus 100. It will give us like 4%. So option B is the correct answer. I believe this concept is now clear to you, and if you still find any difficulty, you can just write in the comment box, and I'll get back to you as early as possible. And you can also send me the message on WhatsApp. WhatsApp number have been provided at the start of this video. You can go back and see my WhatsApp number there if you need to contact me. Okay, see you there with the next video inshallah. Allah Hafiz.